In this lesson, we're going to close in our building by creating a flat roof. Finally, we get to close in our building. Let's talk about roofs for a second. Roofs are identical to floors in the Revit world, in that they are built up the same way, using the same dialogues and methods, which is another reason why I love Revit, in that most procedures are either exactly the same or at least similar. One similarity to floors is the method in which we place the object into the building, and how we can vary the thickness of a material. This is where we focus a little more in depth when it comes to roofs. The objective of this exercise is to create a roof layer by layer, then create a 4-inch variable rigid insulation layer. Open the file you've been working on, or open the file called Chapter 8 and follow along. In the project browser, under Floor Plan, scroll down until you see the roof level. Double-click on it. Let's go up to the roof. A couple things we can hide here. Let's hide some of these section markers. There's a lot of extraneous stuff here, so let's clean up the plan before we do anything. On the View Control toolbar, come down to Show Crop Region. This crop region is allowing a lot of stuff to show up. So go ahead and select the crop region, grab this grip here, and let's bring it all the way over. We don't want to see all that stuff. Let's bring it in a little bit here, a little bit here, and even a little bit here. Click off of the crop region. Now we can click the same button and select Hide Crop Region. Kind of gets it out of the way. It's not going to print, but it's nice to get out of the way anyway. Another thing I'd like to look at is the fact that we're looking at the floor below. We haven't breached this subject yet, but basically what we're doing is we're showing an underlay of level 5. This is useful if you're sometimes trying to lay out shear walls and need to see the walls below you. But in this case, they're just going to be in the way. So for underlay, instead of level 5, let's click the drop down, scroll up, and select None, and hit Apply. Next thing we want to do is lower our elevator shafts a little bit. If you go up to one of these walls, select it, right-click on it, select All Instances, Visible in View. You should only grab those masonry walls. Let's go to the Properties, and the top constraint, and set it up to level parapet. Let's send it up to the level roof. And let's give the top offset -1 foot. Click Apply. Let's zoom out a little bit. Now it's time to add our roof. If you go to the Architecture tab, you can find the Roof button right here. Click on Roof by Footprint. Of course, I don't like the generic 12-inch roof, and we should never use it, so click on Edit Type. The next thing we want to do is duplicate this roof, so click the Duplicate button. For the name, let's call it Roof hyphen 4-inch tapered insulation. And let's click OK. For the structure, let's click Edit. In the structure, for the material, click into the By Category category and click on the little Builder button. Let's look for concrete. Let's go with concrete lightweight. Let's click OK. The thickness of this wants to be 4 inches, but this is not our variable layer. For core boundary row number 1, click onto that and then click Insert. For the function, hit the drop down and let's make this a thermal air layer. In the material, let's click the Builder button. In the search category in the material browser, let's search for insulation. Let's select rigid insulation and click OK. The rigid insulation wants a thickness of 4 inches. You can see in the preview that it's starting to show up. If you can't see the preview, make sure you have the preview button clicked on. Now let's insert another row above our thermal air layer. That function is going to be Finish 1. For material, click into the browser. Let's find EPDM. So we have this roofing membrane that we can put up there. Click OK. Thickness will be 1/4 inch. Not bad. One last thing to do is choose the layer that we want to pitch. It's going to be rigid insulation, and this is what they're going to pitch. So that's going to be our variable layer. When we slope to a floor drain, this is what's going to pitch. This will stay rigid, and this will ride along with it. Again, we can zoom in on this and see exactly what our sections are going to look like. Click OK. Click OK. Now let's place it into the building. With our Pick Walls button picked, what we want to do is hover over one of these walls. Before we pick anything, however, we want to look at our options. We want to uncheck Define Slope. That's for another roof type altogether. Make sure there's no overhang. Hover over one of these walls. Once you see it highlight, keep your cursor to the inside face and hit your Tab key. That should highlight the entire building. Once you see the entire building highlighted, go ahead and pick it. Once it's selected, you can simply click on Finish Edit Mode. Let's go to a 3D view and check it out. Pretty black. Awesome. Now we have a flat roof. See how similar it is to floors? The identical procedures were that we immediately duplicated the 12-inch generic type, added layers of material, and picked the walls in which to place the roof. Just remember though, with flat roofs, turn the Define Slope button off when you're placing the lines.